you and your generation to release the greatest light that the earth has ever seen. In the midst of gross, demonic, satanic darkness, that the light of my Son, the seed of my Son, will arise and shine. For I have destined you to be on the earth during this time. And I've given you an opportunity to come to my threshing floor. And I will crush everything you think you knew about me. But if you'll humble yourself and you'll go low, I will show you that which I've destined for my body to be. Because all generations have been waiting for one generation to come forth, to arise and shine. And just as that wind blew on that day of Pentecost across that threshing floor, it was blowing away the husk of Judaism, their man-made traditions and rules, that Jesus told them that by your traditions you make the word of God powerless, no effect. See, it's not about salvation. Most of you are going to go to heaven whether you come across the threshing floor or not. But it's about being effective. Like the Lord said to me years ago, who's affecting who? Is the church affecting culture, or is culture affecting the church? Who's shaping who? Who's winning the battle in the gates? Come on. Is coronavirus winning? Do we have programs in silver and gold? But do we have the ability to say, you know what, take up your mat and walk? Silver and gold I do not possess, but that which I'm possessed by, come on. What are you possessed by? What are you possessed by? Because it says in the Bible in Ephesians 1:14, we are the purchased possession of the Lord. Are you the possession of the Lord? What are you possessed by today? And today can be a divine reset. I'm not talking, I'm saying right now today, if you hear His voice, today can be a divine reset, a refocus, a plumb-line moment. Maybe you got out of plumb, but in a moment of atonement, God can shift everything in your life today in 1 millisecond of time. Come on. I'm going to bring it to an altar moment, because I believe this house, if it will answer the call, can shift the whole Mississippi Delta. Come on.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
If it will shift, if you allow me to thresh the cultural husk, if you allow me to thresh the husk of religion, systemic poverty, living in a place less than my best, I believe God will release a sound out of this place that will begin to shift the whole Mississippi Delta. But it's a conditional word. If my people humble themselves and pray, turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven. I will heal their land. God can heal the whole Mississippi Delta right from this place. Releasing supernatural words that uproot thrones of iniquity. Come on. That tear down, demolish, and destroy everything that's not His plan, but build and plant His original intent. Jeremiah 1:9 and 10. About, it was 2018, I had just hosted Chuck Pierce and Dutch Sheets for a word that Chuck Pierce released 25 years before over Flint, Michigan. He was in Detroit, Michigan, and he said, look north, strike the match. The fire will burn from the north, from Flint through Detroit and through the nation. For 25 years, that word sat dormant. They came on the 8th day of Hanukkah, December 9th, up to Flint, Michigan, to release and activate that prophetic word. It was a fullness of time moment. And the Lord had spoken to me. He said, and I'm going to shift gears, because He had spoken to me at a very inconvenient time. He says, I want you to set your face 21 days up to the beginning of the new year. I want you to fast, son. And I'm like, I don't want to fast. While everyone's feasting, I want you fasting. Come on. you fasting, but I want you to fast for your son David. Now, my son David is the third son in the lineup. He, out of all of us, the whole family, he's the most compassionate, the most loving, the most gentle, just like good-natured, good kid, but never encountered the Lord. He grew up in church, grew up in a pastor's home, grew up in a prophetic house, and never really encountered the Lord. He was the kid, he was just heavy his whole life, overweight, the last to be picked, all of that. And the Lord said, I want you to set your face 21 days for your son David. And he was going to a thing called One Thing at IHOP KC. And he says, if you'll set your face 21 days, then I'll unroll his scroll there, and it'll be a time of awakening. And I did that. He went there and got revolutionized. He got rocked by the Lord. Well, I'm going to tell you why I'm sharing this. He got rocked by the Lord, wasted in the glory. He came back without telling anyone. He put himself on like this keto type thing. Not only did he get revolutionized spiritually, he let go of some chaff in his life and lost 75 pounds in about 5 months. He looks different, he walks different, he talks different. And so he's been walking in the Lord radically ever since that time. But just recently, we were in Las Vegas. We were down in St. George and then went to Las Vegas to my good friends. And my friend, dear brother who's walked with the Lord for 30, 40 years, knew he had come to a place that I've been to similarly just recently. He said a word that I said to my whole congregation just a few months ago. And he said, I come to a place, and this guy walks, Gary Kirschbaum. I mean, these people are the most holiest presence of God in their home. I come to a place where I realize something is missing. The divine kiss of the Lord is missing in my life. And he's like, my wife's like, you're crazy. I mean, you're anointed, you're used by God, you have, such revelation. But he's like, no, I know something's missing. Something, that kiss of intimacy is missing. And he's saying this to me and my son David with tears. But he said, the Lord met me at 3 a.m. The Lord, see, busyness came in. Ministry came in. All these things here. And you're in a place today. You're here. And you know that divine kiss is missing in your life. And I said this to my congregation months ago. This very same thing. I said, you know what? I'm anointed. I'm used powerfully, prophetically. My ministry, outside of the church has grown. But my fear is my ministry has outgrown my intimacy. And I'm in the most dangerous place of my life that I've ever been. Even greater than when I was drinking 18 Heinekens a day and smoking crack cocaine. I'm in a more dangerous place right now in this moment of my life. So I need you to pray for me for the kiss of the Lord upon my heart, because I don't want to be a shadow of what I was in one moment and one day. And the Lord's saying, listen, you're in a place that intimacy is everything. And if you gotta put everything on the threshing floor, put it on everything on the threshing floor. And the Lord's speaking to the men and women on this platform, speaking to the man with the mic. He's saying, listen, the only way forward is intimacy with me. And if you'll ask me, I'll kiss you with the kisses of my mouth. I'll kiss your heart with fire. And this is a summons to a place, because the only way forward is intimacy with the Lord. The only way forward, because there's dark days coming. Don't fear the dark days, but we got to be in a place. And my son that night in Las Vegas, in Sin City, He said, I want what you have. And Gary grabbed him, and there was an impartation into my son that night. And he went, after being radically rocked, to a place that reminds me when I first got kissed. Man, I was a 17-year drug addict from age 7 smoking dope, age 10 a drug addict, 14 years never not being high. I had one encounter, the divine kiss of the Lord, that instantly delivered me in a moment of atonement. And I burned with the Spirit of the Lord and still burn. But I'm asking the Lord, Lord, I see I'm in a lesser place than I was then. And I want the latter glory of the divine kiss to be greater. I want the spirit of burning, Lord, in my life. I want the spirit of burning in my life, that in the darkest day, Lord, I would burn with the greatest light. I don't want to be a mere shadow. I don't want to just be anointed. You anointed a donkey and prophesied a donkey. I don't want to just be a donkey. Come on. I don't want to be an anointed ass. I want to be an intimate son and daughter. Come on. That's the call. And my son, during the Feast of Tabernacles, he's been helping his grandparents, and he's out and helping them with their farm. So he's not been living at home. And during the Feast of Tabernacles, it was raining that whole week, so he went and slept out in the shed. He's sleeping on a cot. The cot breaks. And the Lord says, I'm breaking the beds of comfort of my people, because the beds of comfort has kept them in a place less than my best. And I want you to sleep on the floor until I tell you otherwise. And it's like Ezekiel laid on his side for 3. He's sleeping everywhere we go. He's sleeping on the floor. He won't sleep on his bed. I'm like, David, what are you doing? He said, the Lord told me to sleep on the floor, because he's going to break the beds of comfort of his people, but he's going to bring them back to original intent. I'm like, come on. Remember Ezekiel laid on his side for 390 days? And I'm telling you, he's walking in a place, he's given up a lot of good things, not simple things, distractions. And this young man, 20 years old, all he wants to do is talk about is the Bible. All he wants to do is talk about revelation. He's burning with a flame that's provoking me to return back to the place where the Lord first met me and kissed me. My son is teaching me now intimacy that I had forgotten about, because maybe my platform got lifted up and my sphere of influence got lifted up, but is my intimacy increasing beyond my sphere of stewardship? And I believe this is a call today that the Lord is saying, listen, you've been stuck in a lesser place, but I'm going to unstick you today. And there's an impartation in the room today to the humble, to the hungry, to the desperate. Like the Lord said, unless my people become like the woman with the issue of blood, they shall not receive anything. She had to press through the crowd. She was determined. She knew it was a moment of atonement, and the Messiah was passing by. She pressed through everything to grab hold of his talit. And I believe today is a moment of atonement for this congregation and the people that are in the room. And he says, I'm looking for the hungry. I'm looking for the desperate. I'm not looking for the perfect. I'm the only perfect one. I'm looking for hunger. I'm looking for desperation. I'm looking for weakness that's surrendered to me. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for surrendered weakness. And if you'll surrender your weakness, my strength will be made perfect in your weakness. And just like this woman came up, that's what he's looking for. He's looking for those that will say, I want more. And God kissed my heart with fire. And so you don't need no invitation to come up into the altar. He's looking for hungry